Here's everything you need to know about Vancouver real estate market in May 2025. My name is Oleg. I'm a local real estate agent here for the last 10 years. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the prices, the demand, the number of new listings, the number of sales, and everything in between. So first, let's talk about the number of sales. We saw a total of 2,163 properties sold in April 2025. This number is 23.6% below the total number of sales in April 2024. It is also about 28.2% below the 10-year seasonal average. Not great news, especially for the spring market. There was a little bit of hope that April is going to bring more activity to the market, that more buyers will take advantage of slower market conditions and lower borrowing costs. If we compare this April to last April, this April, the interest rates were 2.75%. Last April, they were 5%. I'm talking about the overnight lending rate. However, the sales this April were slower than last April. A lot of that could be explained with the economic uncertainty moving forward, the job security concerns that a lot of people have, but also a lot of that could be explained with the buyer psychology. I think the expectation last year was that the prices are going to start going up as the market starts to recover and as interest rates are starting to go down. So more buyers were entering the market because they were expecting that the prices will be on a rise. So why not buy now before the prices start going up due to lower interest rates? However, I feel like right now the expectation from a lot of buyers is opposite. I think a lot of buyers are expecting the prices to go down because the market is very slow. Even though the conditions in today's market are much more favorable to buyers than they were last April, sort of the general sentiment with a lot of buyers is that, hey, let's wait and see what actually happens to the market. Perhaps we're going to see even better deals moving forward. The sellers, of course, are also realizing that the market is slower than usual, and a lot of them are choosing not to list their properties. So if you look at the number of new listings, we saw 6,850 new listings on the market in April 2025. This number is about 3.5% below what we saw in April 2024. This number is also about 19.5% above the 10-year seasonal average. Comparing to the usual market conditions, we still see a lot more new listings on the market than we would expect. However, comparing to last year, there is actually a decrease in the number of new listings. And that's because I feel like a lot of sellers right now are in a position that if they don't have to sell, they won't sell. Just people who really need to sell, let's say they're relocating for work, they're upsizing, downsizing, they sort of have to sell, are listing their places. Everyone else, especially just anecdotally speaking from my experience, whoever I speak with, they're saying things like, oh, let's just wait and see. Maybe we're not going to list this spring. We'll just wait until next spring to list. So that's sort of the general sentiment that I see from a lot of sellers. However, there are still quite a few sellers that are choosing to list their properties for sale. And if you look at the total number of listings on the market, so not just new listings, but everything that is currently listed, there is 16,207 properties. This number is about 29.7% higher comparing to April 2024. This number is also about 47.6% above the 10-year seasonal average. So if you're a buyer in today's market, you have way more choices than usual. 47.6% more inventory on the market. That's not a small number. It really shows how slow this market is at clearing inventory. We just have this buildup of inventory from month after month of slow sales. And a lot of these listings are not taken off the market. They're sort of staying, especially because it is still a spring market. And a lot of sellers believe that this is probably their best chance to sell. So if their place is listed, they're just keeping it listed. My experience is probably until July. If the place doesn't sell, probably will be taken off the market and relisted again in fall time. But at the moment, there is a fairly large buildup of inventory. If you look at the sales to active listings ratio, by the property type, for detached houses, it's about 9.9%. This number has been sort of around this figure for a pretty long time, so it hasn't changed too much. For attached properties, it's about 17.5%. It's actually pretty low for attached properties. Usually this number is in the high 20s, and now having it in the high teens, yeah, that's that's pretty low. And for the apartments, this number is about 15.7%. And what this number really refers to, out of 100 properties currently listed, how many actually get sold. And with the high inventory levels as well as slow sales, you would expect the prices to start dropping drastically, but that hasn't really happened too much. And if you are an active buyer on the market right now, you probably have seen some good deals here and there. They do exist, especially if the sellers really need to sell. But for the most part, the prices have sort of stayed almost flat. So looking at the detached homes, we saw about a 0.7% decrease in pricing from April 2024 and about a 0.6% decrease comparing to March 2025. So as I said, about flat. In terms of the apartments, they're down about 2% comparing to a year ago and down about 0.6% comparing to March 2025. And attached home sales, they're down about 2.9% in the year and down about 1% in the last month from March 2025 to April 2025. As I said earlier in this video, it seems to me that there are still quite a few buyers sort of around the market, but not a lot of buyers right now are making offers. I think buyers are still sort of waiting for the prices to come down further. Will that happen? Will that not happen? Of course, time will tell, and I'll try to keep you updated on this YouTube channel with any updates to the real estate market. Also, if you're looking to buy or sell any real estate here in Greater Vancouver, or you just need some advice, feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a text message, give me a call. I'd be happy to help. And there is a free buyer's guide linked in the description below. It's absolutely free. You don't need to sign up for anything, and it's not a sales pitch. It's just a guide to guide you through the process of buying real estate. I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.